Guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Second City, and you may notice the skyline here of Munster looks a little bit different than it did at the end of last episode. I started working on the skyline a little bit. I wasn't really loving some of the heights, and so I did make a few changes here. I made a little custom building here, just merging two of these buildings together, as well as placing down the round office. I think it just looks much nicer here along the park. And then I did place a few other buildings here. I did a little bit of things by hand, have small row homes here along the back, some small little parks. I did a little park over here with some more row homes. Squish these buildings together. I still have to work on it some. There was a parking lot here. I replaced that with a larger multi-level parking garage. And I'm going to keep kind of doing this probably off camera, just in between parts and making sure that I like how this is looking. But today, I do want to spend a little bit more time over in this area because I realized we never placed any services last episode. And that is something that we probably should address in this part. So let's just take a quick little look here. In terms of power, we do have some facilities that are absorbing a ton of power, and it might be beneficial to just place an additional transformer station. I don't believe, this is only at 42% usage, but as we keep adding to this area, having an extra transformer is going to be really useful. So because we have this industrial sector over here, let's just place one in this area. I think it would fill in quite nicely. We could even consider, no, it just doesn't make it. Although it looks like what is stopping it is actually another power line. Where is a larger power line? We have a transformer over there and we connect underground. We could send an underground line all the way through here, but then this would also stop us from ever expanding this train line. All right, let's place a transformer station right here along Briarfield Street. I think it can fit nicely right there. And then we will just do an underground power line that connects from here, maybe goes straight along this road here in Palmer, or nearly straight along, and then it comes over this direction and we get ourselves over here to Doris. I think what we could do is even consider just having this do a nice curve kind of straight along here to this point, and then we could send it straight on up and over and connect right in to this power line. So now we've just got an extra transformer station, hopefully beginning to deliver power, yes, and just helping this area have a bit more direct connectivity. You'll notice too that this building now turned orange instead of red. So it is beneficial for some of these higher power usage buildings. Now let's just go ahead and get a quick check of water. We're doing all right all around. We will probably need to think about expanding out our water treatment and our water plant. I don't think we have any underground water depots over here, so we can't really leverage any of that. So we'll figure that out in the next part, or as we run into issues with power. I did also go ahead and create this little pocket area called Willow Spring that has a pond in it, and just wanted to get a little bit more use of some of these keys that I haven't actually got to use, or piers I haven't got to use yet. So nothing crazy, but just filling up this space a little bit and bringing in a bit more natural elements. All right, so that covers power and water. In terms of healthcare, we do have a crematorium over here, but I would like to place some other type of medical building here. I don't think it needs to be a full-on hospital. And if we just check our current hospital here, Longview Medical, it only has 20 patients, so it doesn't really need any additional support. But I think we could place a little clinic in this area, just supporting these people a little bit better. Let's see. We've got the USA Southwest Medical Clinic, a patient capacity of 100. The small medical clinic, I think, is too small. Does this have any upgrades? Upgraded with an extension wing that adds more patient capacity and more parked ambulances. I mean, in terms of look, I do like that this is flat to the ground. It doesn't have a lot of height to it. The Japanese Medical Center, also not bad, has 100 patient capacity with 5 ambulances. It doesn't mention anything, though, about upgrades. The regular medical clinic, also 100. It's a little bit larger. I do also like the size, the look of that. I think that looks pretty decent. Only has 90 patient capacity, which I'm not a huge fan of. Let's try out this Southwest Medical Clinic. I Actually, I don't recall if we've ever built one of these before. Now, we could place this somewhere kind of along this main road here and begin to fill in some of this area, or we could consider starting to fill out this section of Munster and Cedar Flats and begin to do a little height work over here. I could see this... I would like it, I think, along a major road or just off a major road. So it could go somewhere along here. But then again, most of our population is living in this section. So I could also see this just having more value, kind of being closer to some of this development. Why don't we actually consider maybe placing this on the opposite side of this road? What if we were to place this right here? It would service this area nicely, and then we could, at least for the moment, just go ahead and give this a little road network kind of surrounding the clinic itself. It's going to set us off slightly from our initial grid. That's okay. This road could continue out straight just fine. Do we go right behind it, or do we give it a little space? I think we might actually want to give it just a bit of space along the back. We'll send this road straight on up at the 90 and connect it into here, and then we'll go ahead and grab this road here as well. Although, you know what? I could see this even being just a larger block, because this area here already is capped by this park. So maybe we figure out a better use for this area instead of just having roads everywhere. Now, this extension is, or upgrade is, an extension wing and extra ambulances. So it's everything all in one. It does just tack on into the same footprint of this building. So for now, let's just leave this here. I am going to set the operating district for this to just be this area. Let's see if that's able to maybe keep up with this section. And if so, then we can consider whether or not we need to do that upgrade. In addition to that, I know we also have this crematorium over here, but I wouldn't mind having one more in this area somewhere, or because we're starting to leave kind of the more dense area of our city, we could also consider doing another one of these graveyards. Now, there is an opportunity here for us to maybe rework this little section and place a larger graveyard building here. We have a UK petrol station here. I might say we should move that. Would that fit just right behind this other building? It would. It would fit both ways, actually. Let's place it facing Daisyfield Street. I think that's actually pretty decent. You can come off the highway here, take one turn, and get to a gas station. It's also across from a parking lot. And then that frees up this space for us to place a larger graveyard. Which way do we want it to go? Because we could also place it this way, but I think I like the idea of it facing this street a little bit more directly. If we turn off snap to roads, we can really squeeze this guy in here pretty nicely and just have that right along that road there. I think that looks pretty decent. And then along this side, I don't necessarily think we need a full-on road, so we could just do a small little alley here. We'll even connect just to the side of the graveyard to build this, and then send it straight along and down both sides. Whether or not we do this extra road, I mean, this just might be overkill. I don't know if this is even necessary to have this here. So we'll leave it like this for now. I think that looks pretty good. And then right behind it, why don't we just go ahead and place... Do we place more trees? Do we extend the surface, or do we do parking? Because I could see, as we continue to kind of get a bit more suburban slowly as we're exiting the kind of the main downtown area, I could see us maybe upgrading this section to having parking. It does have this strange kind of connection with this road here, Kent Street, and Kent Street is pretty short. Are there any buses that utilize Kent Street? No. So what we could do instead is maybe, I think I kind of want to retrofit some of this. So why don't we do this? Let's come back to this. I think this whole block is going to see a little bit of a change. We're going to leave that alone for a moment. But now that we have this built in here, I think it makes it very clear that the best way to complete this section would just be to take this surface, drag it down. Let's not grab that one. Let's grab the corner piece here And it goes to here. Bring that right along to the road. And then we can bring this piece right on down as well. And just make all of that a surface right along there. I think that looks really nice. And what I am going to do is I'm going to set the operating district for this to just Munster, Daisyfield, MTU, Cedar Flats. We'll do Ortega and Dorse Park. So it's only going to service this area. Did we ever set up a similar restriction for this building? We did not. So here's what we're going to do. I'm also going to delete Denny Ridge Cemetery. Let's turn on anarchy so we don't lose that building over there. Let's just go ahead and go boop. Get rid of that. We're going to place it right back, people. Do not worry. Do not worry. Let's go ahead and turn back on Snap to Road. Can we stick it in here without ruining anything? No, that one building is really in the way. All right. We'll anarchy this right in here, just like we had before. But this time, let's go ahead and set some districts for this. We'll do Denny Ridge, Alexandria. And honestly, there's so many people that live here. I think that cemetery might be best served right there. We could also place Creighton here in case there's any workplace deaths, which hopefully there are not. But we could place those two together, have this area serviced by that particular cemetery, and then we have this cemetery here servicing this larger district as well. So that's perfect. All right, so that covers medical and death care. Garbage management, we are doing okay. It doesn't seem like any buildings, even in this far-flung area of Blackwood, are struggling. I mean, ironically, oh no, garbage facilities are brown. I thought for a second, I was like, wait a minute. The garbage facility itself is struggling. It's doing fine. So we're all right there. We turn off anarchy. In terms of education, I think we've already done a pretty decent job here, although I am noticing Ivy Garden and Willow Spring don't have any access to education. Munster may not either. Hold on. If I click on Munster, do we have high school, medical center, cemetery? We don't have a school here, in an elementary school at least, in Munster. Now in Daisyfield, we have this high school. Oh, this elementary school. It's doing fine servicing Daisyfield, but we do need one for Munster. Let's see if we can get one. I'd love one that could maybe fill in one of these extra blocks. I do think this block here might change some as well. And now that we've actually removed the parking lot that was here, I don't know if this little alleyway is necessarily that valuable. Let's see what we could fit in here. If we look at just elementary schools, we have this small elementary school. The problem with this is it only has 400 student capacity. EE only has 100, which is even less. UK Urban, I don't know if this necessarily fits in terms of the theming, but it does hold 500 students with an additional extension to increase pupil count. We have the China Ruby Rock Elementary School, which could fit in here. How many students can that fit? 800. I don't know if I've ever built this. I mean, this could fit right in here now. Let's just see. This might not be permanent. Do you have an extension? This is Ruby Rock Music House. Upgrades the outdoor area and other recreational facilities for the school. Just adds a little extension on top. I can already tell you that this is not going to work in terms of size. So let's go get rid of that. Let's look at what else we have. Regular elementary school, it's just too big and it doesn't really fit. French will not fit. Suburban primary school. I mean, this guy, it's long. But like, could I squeeze it along this road and it work in here? It could. How many students does that hold? 1,000. Includes extra classrooms extension. There's also the Japanese Town Elementary. Another USA Northeast Elementary School, which I will say, I mean, these are maybe my favorite at the moment. They look so nice. And there's also the Southwest, which is, I think, a pretty large building. What are these two schools here? This guy works here in Ortega and Alexandria. And this guy also works in Ortega and Alexandria. Does Alexandria have any other elementary schools? It has the Mill Street Elementary, which is right there. And it has Modern High School, Denny Ridge Urban Elementary School, which is over here, also full. So why don't we do this? Let's take this elementary school and only assign it to Denny Ridge. That means Alexandria has lost one of its elementary schools. We've got Ortega EE and Mill Street EE, as well as Denny Ridge City Elementary School, which is also right here, and this is also full. So let's remove this as well. These two elementary schools will only work in Denny Ridge. Then this elementary school can work only in Alexandria, and this elementary school can only work in Ortega. Let's see if over time that solves some of these problems. If not, we may need to add some additional schools there, but I actually think that works pretty nicely. We've still not placed an elementary school for this section. I could get into doing the city elementary school, especially as we continue to grow this area. This building could look pretty nice over here, and I may even consider saying, let's remove these buildings and have it here on the corner. Or we could have it facing here. It would be very close to another elementary school. I just don't want it to look strange, you know? I want it to look nice. If we were to get rid of Mulberry Lane, which I believe we can do without ruining much of anything, we could place this building right along here. Assign this just to the Munster Operating District. Daisy Field has their own. And now we've got a dedicated elementary school here. I think we will give it the upgrade for the courtyard playground. And at the moment, we don't need to worry about the extension. Right behind it, I think what I'd like to do, we have this key wall kind of going along this edge here. Let's go back over, or retaining wall, excuse me. Let's go back over here, add another retaining wall here, and then let's just try to flatten this area out to the base of our school. I want to actually bring this much further down so it's not in the way of anything. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, it does leave the opportunity for us to replace a road here. Let's see what that would look like. If we were to do an alleyway from here to here, we wouldn't interrupt anything that's already existing, which is nice. And it does extend this surface, which I think could be extended all the way around the side of this school. If I were to bring this out and then bring this over to here, we could just have a nice large surface right along the side. Snap it to the 80, fills that in nicely. Then this area here, as well as this area, still need to be a little bit more developed. We may consider some type of parking structure. I don't think any parking lot will actually fit right here. We could see, I mean, a modest doesn't fit. Does this small solar? Ooh, this does fit. So we will place this behind here almost like it's a part of the elementary school. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this grass surface and just extend this all the way through this area to kind of finish this section off nicely. And I'll even pop this guy out so we just fill in that area. Then let's just place a few trees right over here. But now we've got, I think, a nice end to that block there. So that covers elementary, covers high schools. I wish I could reorganize these, or like, and just have it set up by education, health, and death care, like kind of match what we have down here. And now we've got to think about fire and police. All right, so fire coverage. I mean, it says we're okay. It says we're okay. But I would prefer to have a dedicated area over here. Now, let's see. I've not actually built this China Fire Rescue Brigade. It's a cute looking building. It could give some nice additions to this area. Ooh, it actually would fill in this whole block. I don't know if I want it to be right here. And this road here, I don't actually want anything zoned along this section of Briar Street because it is leading you into the highway. So let's actually just quickly place a key right along here, right along here. So we're just going to leave it just like that. But that way we don't have to worry about placing something there if we actually want to place some residential or something. But that frees up this section, I think, a little bit nicer to consider something like this fire brigade building, which, look at that. I mean, that's actually a beautiful asset. It does not have any upgrades, which is okay. But why don't we place this for Palmer? Quickly can get on the highway and come right over here on this bridge. We could do MTU, Daisy Field, Munster, and Cedar Flats. All of this would be covered by this fire station. We could also think about doing Hodges Sports Complex, but I think we'll come back to that in a moment. And if I click on fire, do I see where the next one is? Oh, the next one's not even until over here. And it doesn't have any operating districts. If I went like this, right? We did these three areas as well as Creighton. I came back over here. I actually think I would assign this to Doris Park. Does that kind of change my fire coverage citywide? I think because we have helicopters, it helps alleviate some of the stress there, but I do think we should consider getting a few of these fire stations set up for specific districts. And there we go. Now we can actually see what has coverage and what does not. So Warehouse Bend does not have any coverage. We just want to apply this to Warehouse Bend, or do we want to consider adding an extra fire station? Maybe we just do one of these kind of city-based ones that slides in somewhere nicely, and we can maybe slot this in here in a way that doesn't destroy a ton of stuff. I do not want to see a ton of things disappear. Maybe we place it right here on this corner, and this can operate here in Warehouse Bend. It can also do Sheffield and Cypress, and we'll let that be a part of the key as well. This is actually really useful because now I'm able to see what has coverage and what doesn't. So now we've got Ivy Gardens, Willow Terrace, and Boulder Hill all needing their own fire station. What if we were to do the City Firehouse? And let's maybe slot this in. We've got a few smaller buildings here still. So I think we could slot this in somewhere nicely and not disrupt a whole ton of residents. Or what is this? This is a park. Right on the corner there is a pharmacy. I wouldn't want to delete jobs if I could help it. So maybe we place it right here on this corner. Right? Removes a few homes from there, but there's still zoning available in case anyone wants to move there. This could cover Dickinson Narrows, Middle Peak, Bedford, Horsham Flats, Longview, Briarwood, and Trafford College. So all of that could be covered there. We go back to this. We can see we don't have any coverage down in the south area. That's okay. We don't have any coverage for Orson Farms, and we don't have any coverage for the center of the city. What was I doing with this building here? This is another city building. Little restricted, so let's do this. Let's just apply this to this whole section as well. And then Boulder Hill, Willow Terrace, Willow Spring, and Ivy Garden, I think, could get their own coverage. Let's just zoom out. They have one over here. This one's going to cover all of this area. And actually, let's just undo that. This can just cover whatever's needed because it can also take care of this area that's not been districted yet. And then we need one more to kind of cover this section, which I wouldn't mind trying to place it kind of in the heart of everything that's going on. And maybe this is one of the first buildings we place into this unzoned area. Before we do that, let's go ahead and just give this its own district. Okay, so this is Bedford Dale. I don't like that name. Let's go ahead and name this. Ooh, let's name this Hollis because that's just whoever chirped. All right, this whole area needs its own section. I mean, something like this could be pretty cool. Like, we've not built this type of building yet, and I think having this maybe right here. Does it have any extensions? It does. Let's do something like that, and then let's go ahead and set the operating district for Willow Spring, Hollis, Boulder Hill, Willow Terrace, Ivy Gardens. Now, everywhere should be covered except for Orson Farms. So we'll give Orson Farms, is there like just a tiny little fire station? The Southwest, a little bit too big, although it would fit right there. So let's do this firehouse here and just set that to Orson Farms. So I think now everybody is, for the most part, covered. Perfect. It did increase our fire hazard some by limiting those, but I think they're going to be more efficient in the areas that they're placed. Okay. Similarly, I probably should do the same with our policing. And now it just leaves these areas for a little bit of extra love. Let's do a modern police station. The base of operations for local police can be upgraded with parking lots, an extended building, and a small jail. How big is this? Because I think I want this right here on this block. I think I mean, look at that. That's cool. That looks very cool. I think we go ahead and give it all the upgrades. Station gate with helipad. Oh my God, another helipad? No helipad. It tacks onto it, which if we were to place it along the back here, it would not be able to use that road. But we could also do this. Let's think about this. If I were to take a road straight on out, not connected up to here, we could then place this building right along here, just like so. And it looks like we can place multiple of these, which is interesting. And there's a small jail. Does that tack on? No, it does not. What if this also came down this direction at the 90 and we just filled in this whole block and kind of made this whole block is kind of like a bit of a police complex, because then we could place our small jail right here. I'm actually going to slightly scoot that over one. Or at least scoot it over a little bit. But that way this is tucked here in the back, kind of out of the way. It does help give us that definition and the drop in height, which I like. All right. I want to start zoning this specifically to Munster, Daisyfield, MTU, Palmer. It's got these upgrades, so it's going to be able to do quite a large area. I think we cover all of that. Does that leave the center of the city without coverage? It leaves Denny Ridge and Alexandria without coverage, and I don't want that to be the case. So I think what we do is we maybe come over here, and do we upgrade this to a full-on road? I think it might be time. Let's change this over to a full-on road. We'll put trees and grass along the one side. Does that delete anything? No. Perfect. And then right here on Birchdale Street, we can add in a police station to cover this area. Honestly, I'm loving how this one looks, but what's this one? The city police station? This has 36 jail capacity, 8 patrol cars. I mean, this has a ton of opportunity. Or do we kind of sneak it in over top one of those? I don't want to delete anything per se. I'm happy with how this area looks. I don't know if I want to change it all too much. Although we do have some houses here that I could see us increasing the density of this area a little bit. So let's place this here. Then let's go ahead and assign this to these two districts here with some overlap into the heart of the downtown. They kind of work in tandem. Now if we check this, everywhere is pretty much covered except for some of the roads. I like that better because it gives me a more realistic way to use these services. Now, some of them have helipads and they technically cover a large area, including the whole city, but I don't want to use it in that way. It's also going to help, I think, cut down on how many times I have to turn the volume down for the stinking police or for the stinking helicopters. All right, so now we've got some development here, but I think we need to figure out how to make this look better. And we can do that. Let's start off by... Actually, let's start off like this. Remove these two small buildings. Bear with me. I know we just built this. Remove those two small buildings. Let's go ahead and retaining wall along this whole side. Along this whole side. Although there is a bus stop there. I think we do it. It's not a very heavily trafficked road. I think we retaining wall here. We retaining wall here. And we retaining wall here. Right? Then let's go ahead and kind of level out most of this land to this height. It does add this really intense wall to some of these areas. But I think leveling all this out is going to look much nicer in the long run. Okay, so now we've got kind of a flat plateau here to work with. With that in mind, it does limit my options to use this road, because what I'd like to do is kind of use this to hold most of this police business. So what we could consider is maybe bringing a road in. I don't know if I could squeeze it in along the side here, but we could kind of push this back and send a road maybe from the diagonal in. For the moment, let me just scoot this over here and place this right back here. Bam. Does also mean we can finally just correct some of this. And then what we do is we double check the size before I do any more building. This goes 1, 2, 3, 4. We could squeeze it in here at 4 and have that positioned nicely with the road down the middle. Both buildings would need to be next to each other. I don't think that's a problem. If I bring a road straight on out from here, leaving 4 space over on that side, this could come straight on back. And, you You know what? Hold on. Let's upgrade this to have trees on both sides. I think that would look nice. Upgrade grass and trees on both sides. Let's also change this. I don't believe any vehicles, any buses use this road. They do not. So let's change this road to be a one-way. Keep the normal snap going here. I don't want it to delete any buildings. It'll be a one-way from the avenue. Send you into the city here. I mean, do any buses use this road? I almost want to make that whole road a one-way, but we won't. That way, the police will come out and they'll go into the city. Or do I reverse it and they leave out this way? Actually, I think that might be the stronger play. If we reverse this to go this direction, then when you come out, you get onto this avenue and you can quickly be like, all right, I'm going to shoot down this way and go up, or I'm going to shoot down this way and go this way. I like that a lot better. Already a lot better. All right. Let's go ahead and place a straight road here with no decoration. The police building is right here at the end of this block. We are going to move it one more time, and we're going to disconnect it from road movement or road snapping and just center it real nice in the middle there. Oh, it's backwards. Rotate it and then just center it really nice right here in the middle. Bam. Much better. Much better. Okay. Get rid of this tiny little tree for now. We are going to place trees back, don't you worry. But then this means we can still add in these upgrades if we can just sneak them in along this side. So this first upgrade is the investigating team. So I'm going to rotate this around like so, and we're going to place this right up here along the road. And then we have our small jail. Can this fit on this side? I can already tell you now it cannot. So this will have to go next door. But I think by having a few buildings along the routes, that could be decent. Just like that. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a police complex here. Now, we do want to have some trees and things at least on the side facing Fairview Street. We're going to start with some of our larger guys, which luckily do fit in most of this area. Along this side, it would be nice to have some overflow parking. And I think it'd be a great time to use maybe some of these types of parking lots that are long. Actually, this one right here is really all we need. I would say let's place it here and then just scoot it over a little bit. That way it's really leaning into being closer to the police station. And then honestly, we're just going to do the same thing we just did there now that we have this in place. Add a few trees. Go. Now we've got a brand new police complex, which fills in that whole area nicely. Now, if I look at operating districts, we're covering all of this, which is great. Did I already solve the problem for doors? I did. We placed that down. So now everything has dedicated police and everything has dedicated fire. We're going to have to remember we did that because knowing me, I'm going to build a ton of sections, totally forget that I got to also make sure those areas have the support they need. Communications, we could improve drastically. Now, we do have a post office over here. I think Daisyfield would benefit from their own. And I could see there being a post office. I would just like a regular post office right over here, kind of along this main street. It's going to go right... actually, it could go right here even. It's relatively flat. I think that looks pretty nice. We do this guy here, and we set the districts for this to be here, 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 and Munster. I know Munster already has one. That's okay. But now if I look back here, we've got decent coverage. Oh, you know what? You could also take care of Palmer and Cedar Flats. That just makes the most sense. Do you have assigned districts? You have those three. I think you're also going to cover those two as well and just expand that coverage a bit. And then we should probably place maybe one or two of these beautiful pickup locations. We'll do one kind of along the main road. Maybe we'll do one over here in that section of that city as well. We'll do one over here. And we'll do another one maybe kind of on the other side of the city there. This doesn't really need it because they can just walk to this section here. That's perfect. Okay, great. How are we doing with telecoms? Probably good. Yeah, probably good. And I think I want to make some adjustments to our other telecom system that we have here in our city. Telecom, we have a tower here. It's small. It's a tiny radio mast, and I think this could be improved. And when I was doing the work in the last part, I realized that, you know what? We're really stressing, I think, what this particular small Ortega bus station can handle. It's very efficient. It's got great comfort. 29 passengers waiting. It's doing great work. But it's got so many different buses coming to it. We have Ortega Northfield, Ortega Cypress, Maple Street line, which is a great line, very busy, Daisyfield, Doris Park, and Ortega Easton. So I think I actually want to change out this bus station. I'd love to upgrade it. And looking at the options, we have, this is what we currently have in place, the small bus station. We also have a bus station, which is much larger, right? It can support up to 6 platforms. Or we have the local bus station. And I've never used this building, and this came with one of the expansion packs. So I'm thinking we need to use this local bus station. My thinking is we actually shift where this bus station sits. Instead of it being directly in front of the train, let's have it be across Doris Park, and we're going to redevelop this particular block to fit this in. It's going to then have the bus station be closer to the subway line, which a lot of people use, and they can then just walk across the park to get to the regional rail line. So let's figure out what's going on here and make some of those adjustments. We have this road maintenance depot, which all the buildings are in use. And if we take a quick little look, how is our road maintenance going? Overall, it's going great. It's going great. If we hide road maintenance vehicles and we hide parking lots, we can see we've got only 2 road maintenance depots, but pretty much all the roads are doing okay. So what I think we do is, as these areas are continuing to develop, some of these more industrial type things, I want to start pushing a little bit further out of the city. Now, we could push this over here and place it in Palmer. I think that might be too far. So instead, I want to place this over here in Cedar Flats. Can it fit anywhere neatly? It can fit right here, right along Castlewood Street, which I'm a fan of that. The benefit of just moving it too is that we get to keep the larger trees that are already a part of that building. Now, with this, I'm going to actually get a little crazy, and I'm going to extend this surface to cover the entire block that it's in. One thing that I have not done, I think, a great job of as we've expanded is leaving just larger areas of green space. So we're going to let that just be a lawn. We're not going to put any development there, and we're just going to let that be. Now that we've moved that out of the way, we also have a transformer station. Now, I know in the beginning we placed this new transformer station. I did not want that to fully replace this transformer station. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to repurpose this one with a brand new, smaller transformer station. We have this guy here, the French electrical substation, that I think could fit nicely in our kind of downtown heart of our city area. And we could probably, we could tuck it in right here next to our parking lot, and surrounding it is one residential building, yes, but mostly offices. So I think that's going to be perfect. Now, it's showing it doesn't have any connections because we need to connect to the main structure, the main systems here. I'm going to bring this major line over here to this road. We'll then bring it down to here. Let's actually just bring it down to this corner. We'll bring it over, and we'll bring it down and connect it up and in, which is going to allow me to then come back over here and remove this extension here. And we can come over here and remove this substation. All right, so now we've re-diverted that electrical kind of into the heart of the downtown here without sacrificing anything there. I am going to, for the sake of encouraging no bottlenecks, I'm going to send another one of these high voltage lines straight on through and connect it up and in. I don't know if we'll ever see any power course through there. I'm not sure if we will because it's going to divert into this section and diverting this way. But that way we have a redundancy in case I ever delete something by accident, which knowing me, there's a high likelihood that'll happen. And with that, we now have this guy remaining, this radio mast. Now the radio mast is fine, but I think at the point we're at where we're making as much money as we are, we could just change this radio mast, which only has a 1 kilometer range. We could change that to a telecom tower. Again, this little area of Cedar Flats was going to be residential at first, but as our city is growing and expanding, I'd like to see some of this change. We could actually place this over here in Palmer. We could place it off the main road, right here along this road. If I turn off Snap to Roads, where's the entrance? Right there. We could place it right here at the entrance of Palmer, filling out this area nicely, and meaning we can then remove this radio mast. All right, let's go and remove this parking lot that we have placed here. Sorry, everyone who was living here. It was great having you here, but it's time to go. And it looks like that has messed up. Our subway. Was our subway facing the wrong way the whole time? Hold on. Bam, we've reconnected that. That should fix that stop. All is good and been restored. Is that going to correct itself? Power. Great. All right, so now we've got this whole area. Now, back in the day, I built this beautiful little parking sign and all of that. We're going to get rid of all that. We're going to get rid of all these trees for the moment. Let's grab this new bus thing. I've never used this. The local bus station. It's quite large, but if we place it along Forest Street or along Pearl Street, we're able to get some great bus connectivity here. There's not a lot of traffic on Pearl Street either, and if I check that, actually, hold on, let's do this. If I go here and go to traffic, Pearl Street, it is somewhat busy, but not terribly so. So I think we set this up to go, well, actually, you know what? There's a better way to figure this out. We've already got routes going along this road. I would rather they leverage this main avenue. So let's do the local bus station here. But I think we back it up 4. Here's how we're going to do that. We're going to grab this road. We're going to grab a regular road here. It's going to be a 1 lane. No, it's going to be a 2 lane one-way road. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. We're going to place this road coming straight on out and over. Let's turn everything off here except for Snap to Existing. Let's line this up pretty nicely. It's going to give us this double intersection, but I'm okay with that, right? So we have this 2 lane one-way road. We're going to then upgrade this road to be, here we go. Upgrade this road to be a double public transport lane, 2 road lanes going in opposite directions. Oh, I guess we actually want this to just be a regular road then? Hold on, let's see. Turn this into a regular road, but then upgrade this into a double public transportation road. Dedicated to public transportation, emergency vehicles, and turning traffic can be added to existing roads with the replace tool mode. Okay, I like that. That works well for me. I do also want to make some small adjustments right here where we upgrade these 2 lanes to not allow for parking. I think this whole street is not going to allow for parking. What I'd rather do is I'd rather upgrade this to have 2 lanes going that direction, and then this one will have 2 lanes going this direction. I think that's a stronger way of using those options. And then let's, I wish there was just like a no parking option that didn't need me to have these larger sidewalks. But for here, we'll do a larger sidewalk on this side, and then on this side, we'll do trees and grass to make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, great. So now I've got all this set up. Now what we want to do is we want to place down our new bus station, our local bus station. If I measured correctly, it should be able to fit right in here nicely. Beautiful. There's our new bus station. Looks real nice. Huge fan. Can get into it 10 out of 10. Do I want to... I think I do want to change the surface. I'm just going to incorporate the surface all the way around. I think it's going to look nice. Now, what I think needs to happen here is we take Daisy Field Street, we leave that alone, but we take Kent Street and we actually take Kent and just curve it over this direction. I don't think it needs to connect here into Sheffield. So let's grab a small road, just give a little little segment there and remove this section. Turn everything back on. And from here, curve over this way and then connect straight on up into Kent. Great. Or Daisyfield. Well, now change this. This is Daisyfield Road. Don't get saucy with me, Bernays. With this, we no longer need this. So what I want to do is I want to start transferring over some of these bus lanes. So let's first grab Daisyfield Doris. And, oh, I need to do it this way. Excuse me. Grab this. Let's first grab Daisyfield Doris. And we're going to move Daisyfield Doris to the very first one. Right? Beautiful. I am wondering if this should scoot over some and be more central. Which, now that I'm seeing how this works, I think that would maybe work a bit better. Just to give us more than enough opportunity for the buses to come out and kind of queue up here. So I think that works better. Okay, so Daisyfield Doris has moved. Let's grab the next line here, which is Ortega Easton. So let's move Ortega Easton here. We're also going to move Ortega Northfield here. We're going to move Ortega Cypress here. And then the last stop is going to be our Maple Street line. So now we've just transferred these 4 stops over to here. And then I want to think about how some of these stops are being used. I'd like to move the traffic to the main avenue there so they're not going in front of our train station. And is there any kind of crazy changes that we need to make? Most of these are making sense to me. This one here doesn't necessarily make the most sense. Does it stop there on its way up? It does. Would we rather we move that stop? No, because this is now actually closer. So I don't know if it would make sense to move that to that location. I mean, I like that they're all stopping at this location. This is supporting a lot of stops. The Birdsong Street stop. Does it just make sense to move this stop to here, right off the edge, if the only one using it is this Birdsong option? What if we were to do this? What if we were to grab this stop and move this stop to here instead? Move this to here. We could then go ahead and remove this stop and this stop. And then if we double check this, we do now have 2 stops really close to each other. I don't actually know if this one's even necessary. Although it is, because the next one's not over there till Daisyfield. We don't actually have a stop here. I guess I must have gotten rid of it by accident. Let's place this here. Let's scoot this guy into this stop. We can then actually get rid of this stop and just allow that to move that direction. On its way back down, it stops here. On its way up, it's stopping here. I think on its way up, we have a second bus stop right here on the other side of our main road. Remove that and move that to here instead. Okay, so now we've got a much better setup here. The buses can then use these roads to get in and out. It does allow for one vehicle to stop here. So I think what I'd like to change about this is a few things. I want to remove the stops here. I do want to keep most of this connectivity, but I'm going to remove these 2. You can cross there if you need to. That way you can turn in just from here, which is perfect. Now, many of them are using this to come, I guess, in this direction. Let's just see how this is working. Yeah, they're using this road to come in and come around this way. What I'd like to do is set this up so that they're having to go this way to get in to this road. So they're coming in and around. It's going to require we make some changes to this section as well. So let's go ahead and make sure that there is no light here. And let's remove these crosswalks. That way the buses now will all follow the same kind of route here. They'll come down, they'll curve up and around and go in, and then they'll come out and go out this direction. And once these 2 get themselves corrected, then I think we'll be in a better situation. I have then essentially turned this into a one-way. And so I think what we do is we do in fact upgrade this to a one-way road going this way. There we go. So now everyone's going to come around and use Fox Hollow Street this direction to then come in. But we're also seeing, like, look at all of the sidewalk here. We're making a better transportation hub for people. And I think in seeing this, I actually would like to remove the grass. I don't know if I want the grass there. If I placed trees here, would the buses just drive around the trees? Here, we can see with this purple bus. Purple bus is coming out. How does this turn work? Would you run into that tree? You run into the tree across the street. Both of you do. But nobody seems to run into this tree. All right, we're going to upgrade that, and we're actually going to change this to a 2-lane road so that traffic can easily move through, but there is now a dedicated bus lane. Now, the benefit of this is it also means we can consider building out a little bit more bus infrastructure in key areas. So right here, we've got 3 lines that use this road. So I think we would want to upgrade this and this to both have bus infrastructure along that road, allowing buses to get through a bit easier. The avenue does have a lot of bus traffic. We've got, I can see right off the bat, 1, 2, 3, 4 different lanes that use this. So let's go ahead and for starting here, after we transition from that little triangle, I think we add bus routes all the way through here. So again, we're beefing up this bus infrastructure. All right, so we've got clear bus lanes kind of in this bus hub area. They're a little pink for me. Not a huge fan of that, but whatever. What are you going to do? I mean, they stick out like a sore thumb. All right, so that's beautiful. We've got our new bus station. We can now, I believe, go ahead and decommission this bus station. Nobody is using this. Lines 0. So let's go ahead and delete this bus station. We can also then expand this section here of Doris Park and just really increase this surface coverage and fill in all of this as well. I wonder if, instead of Park Lane, I wonder if this is just another pathway. We've removed the need for this to be connected to anything else. So let's just place this right like this. Connect those guys directly up there. And now this is even more pedestrian friendly. Okay, that looks pretty good. I am going to do one more move here. We're going to change this early disaster center, and we're going to scoot it over into this area, which... Oh, I have anarchy on. I'm like, why is this letting me go, but it's telling me nothing's working? We're going to place this, I think, over here in the back corner. I would like it to be kind of out of the way of anything else. Let's go ahead and just remove Crestwood Lane. Then we'll move this over here, right over here in the back corner, away from everything, and then we'll replace this alleyway directly behind it. But we'll use the building as our guide here. So we're just going to go straight on out like so, and come straight on over like so as well. Perfect. Okay, that's, I think, now in its permanent home, which is great. And it allows us to extend Doris Park, I think, one more time. For now, we're not going to do anything fancy or special in this section of Doris Park. Because again, remember, I'm trying to consider having some more green space. So this, for now, is just going to be natural little park. Actually, it should have been this. And we did place some oaks along the earlier part here of Forest Street. And so I think here, I'm going to also place some additional oaks, just to give Forest Street a little bit more of its namesake. Now, all of this is eventually going to have some businesses here. It's going to look nice, but for now, that looks pretty decent. Now, we've got Kent Street that wraps around, which is really useful. Doris Park has been expanded. We've moved all of this over. I think that's decent. What are our upgrades? Extra platforms provides additional stops for passengers. And then we also have a bus service station, an office building to provide support services to your bus network. I would love to have this. Would love to have this. Let's place this right along here. Gives a little bit more support to our bus network. Now I think we just kind of need to generally detail what this area is going to look like. All right, so Doors Park, much larger, has a much more robust transportation center, and is beginning to give us some green space to enjoy. Also leads into the Munster Cemetery nicely. So once all this is developed, I think this is going to look nice and just be kind of surrounded by development and look thought out and intentional. Here, I do think I wouldn't mind trying to see, can I force a crosswalk right here? I can't. Can I force one here? No. But I will have one right in the middle. There we go. That's solved that. Now I'm just going to fill this all in with the surface. And I think we might be ready to call this episode a day. Look at that. Now Doors Park is a much more robust park area as well as much better transportation. And we didn't lose any residents. We didn't really delete any businesses. We just kind of shuffled things around a bit. I think there could be some more detailing done around this area. For now, I'm thinking it could just be trees, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you think I should put around this bus station? And should I further develop any of these sections here? I don't know if it needs more, but if you think it does, you tell me. And let's make it happen. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members-only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.